Shalom. Kol halalim la Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the prophets of that body, and Shalom to the 144,000 and one third, the elect men, women, and children, okay, scattered to the four corners of the earth. Shalom. May the spirit of endurance be upon you and your households. A new drug called, otherwise flysky, is called flysky. A new drug called flysky is spreading throughout the Pittsburgh area, authorities say. And it's uncanny that it's called flysky because once you take it, you will literally go back to this, to the spiritual realm. So you will fly sky. You will fly to the sky, as so to speak. You will go back to the heavens. You go back to the Lord. You're basically DIE. All right. It's basically a stronger version of heroin or heroin, okay? And this shit, right? Even if you use Narcan after it, like for example in that scene in what's that movie, man, with just Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta, Pulp Fiction. All right, I think it was Narcan they used in the movie when what's that lady's name, man? The female in there overdoses on heroin. She snorts it, assuming it's cocaine. And then they take her back to that Edomite drug dealer's house and they inject her chest with some. Is it adrenaline? Yeah, I think it was adrenaline, right? I don't know whether that's Narcan is adrenaline. Is Narcan adrenaline? Let me just Google it actually. I don't know. Is Narcan adrenaline? I mean, whatever it was. I'm not a chemist, so I don't know too much about that. Uh, but in the movie, I believe they used adrenaline or Narcan, one or the other, right? And then she got up out of it. So in this case, with this particular drug, Fly Sky, right? I mean, Narcan and adrenaline have a sort of a similar effect, but I think Narcan blocks opioids affecting certain key areas of your body so you don't die. Right. With this stuff, Narcan won't even help you if you overdose on it. All right. Now, this is a form of a pestilence, if you want to look at it that way, because it is a disease. Those of you that know heroin addicts in your neighborhood that see these crack and heroin addicts, which are still around, all right, you see them for many, many, many years. They get worse and worse and worse. They're so damn near the shirt off their back just to get a hit. All right, they don't feel normal until they have it. They feel sick. They can't move. They get paralyzed damn near. You know, they don't take care of their hygiene. They can't work. You can't function normally because your body becomes addicted to it. So therefore, it's a form of pestilence. And most, our people are still on this hell, right? But this, for the most part, especially in the UK, I live in a very brown area, right? Most of these people that are really effed up, don't get it. There are brown people on it too. When I say brown people, I'm talking about so-called black people too, right? Our people, right, are on it too, but majority are Esau, Edomites, so-called white people. Now I'm gonna use the same phrase that they used on our people. You saw them how they pumped. We seen American Gangster. That shit is true. We seen how they pumped drugs, uh, guns, hand grenades, automatic weapons, leaving them in Israelite neighborhoods, black, Hispanic, and Native Indian neighborhoods. That's why they were completely destroyed in the 70s and 80s, right? 90s, you know, right? They made numerous shows out of it. What's the one with Idris Elba, man? What's that drug dealer show, man? What's it called again? Man, I'm getting up in age, I forget. Idris Elba showed drug dealing. Yeah, The Wire, right? Then they had another one called The Corner, right? And who do they show in there? They don't have no shows about The Wire, The Corner. They don't have them in Edom about Edomites, all right? So-called white people or Chinese people or East Indian people, right? Or Arab people. Yeah, our people are scattered amongst them. And, they're going through hell too. But for the most part, where the bulk of Jake is, especially in America, parts of Europe, especially in America. These drugs, who did they affect before? Our people. And it was done by design. First of all, to cut us off from being a nation, pursuant to Psalms 83. They wanted to cut us off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Paraphrasing. All right. And all the nations are involved. Now, these curses are coming back on you, Edomites. Esau, so-called white man, why don't you just say no to drugs? Say no to it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Is that what they say? Pull yourself up. Pick yourself up. Let's play it.
A new drug has been making the rounds in our region, and officials are warning that it can be deadly. It's called flysky, and our Chris DeRose has more on what the public needs to be on the lookout for.
Here in Fayette County, over the last few days, there have been at least 2 overdose deaths from a drug called
copyright fair use.
flysky, and now officials want people to be aware that this drug is in the community. The drug flysky, as it's sometimes labeled on bags sold on the street, is heroin laced with medetomidine, which is a tranquilizer used in veterinary medicine. Fayette County District.
The so-called white man is something else, man. Just to, they create these drugs to destroy the population, to depopulate it, and also create the problem, right? And the reaction, well, how they, they create the problem, and what's the reaction they want? To people to DIE, to people to use the hospitals, their services, so they can make more money selling pharmaceutical drugs as well, and also create problems in the streets. So there's more crime, so there's more shoplifting, more theft, and also at the same time, the police have something to do. You understand? This is all a cycle, how these crackers make money. These Edomites are something else, boy. These motherfuckers think they're going to rule forever. This kind of shit they do to even destroy their own people. But we don't give a shit. I don't care about no crackers being, dropping. I don't care, man. We don't care about them. They didn't care about us, quoting even Dave Chappelle, even though he's a demon, even quoting Dave Chappelle, he goes, I don't care either, because he made a comment or a joke about this particular situation where he went back to because I think he's from a honky area, real Edomite area where he's from, somewhere in the sticks. I forget. And he said, he goes, I saw all these sleepy white people, so-called white people, and then he compared that. And sleepy white people basically talking about heroin addicts. He goes, all these people are sleepy. he goes, basically in not so many words, he basically said the same way so-called white people didn't care about our plight when we were on crack and heroin and these back in the day, the same way he doesn't care. And he made that comment too, I don't care about you damn devils, but we're just going to report one here just to let it be known what you MFers are doing, man. And it's called flysky. Literally, you take that shit, you overdose, you're definitely gonna fly high and fly back to the sky. Basically, your your spirit's gonna be separated from your body, and your spirit's gonna be back in front of the throne of Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai. All right, so you're gonna go back to, the realm where the Lord, even though the whole world belongs, everything belongs to Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai, but there's a specific dimension where the Lord sits,
Attorney Michael Abel says that users need to be aware that this drug can be lethal.
My understanding is that medetomidine is a drug that is not affected by Narcan. So if you overdose on medetomidine, Narcan is not going to save you.
Abel says that anyone who may have a bag of this flysky drug can turn it into authorities at several places in the county, including local police stations and the Crime Stoppers office. No questions asked. He also says that not only are local and state police working to get these drugs off the street, but that his office will prosecute those who are responsible for delivering these drugs into the community.
Narcan, it could be similar to adrenaline as well, where it just gives you a shot of. So I think Narcan, adrenaline just basically wakes you up, gives you a shot of energy, so to speak. Just gives you a little pump, so you just get shaken out of that druggish vibration, right? Whereas Narcan, I believe, is like a anti-opioid. It blocks the opioid, similar to naproxen, I think. Not naproxen. Naproxen is something else. Um, what's the other one called? I think it's naproxen. But anyway, it's basically a Narcan just stops opioid affecting key parts of your body so you don't DIE, right? But nevertheless, it's similar to that scene in Pulp Fiction where Uma Thurman, that's it, Uma Thurman, yeah, when she overdoses, and then John Travolta takes her back to that dope fiend cracker's house, you know, and then they just slam that big injection in her chest, and then she just wakes up out of her slumber, you know.
We want people to be safe. We want, we want everybody to be alive and to be healthy. You just don't know what you're getting anymore on the street.
Now, not only is this drug popping up in Fayette County and the Pittsburgh area, but it's also being seen in places like Philadelphia and Chicago. We're going to have more information about this drug with this story on our website, kdka.com. But for now, reporting in Uniontown, Fayette County, Chris DeRose, KDKA TV News.
Deuteronomy 30, verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahshai thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Now, even though all these curses, heavy duty, will be on the Edomites and the heathen nations also, right, in the kingdom, but it's starting now. The same way when we started falling, for example, when Jake was ruling England, Europe, the so-called Dark Ages, right? There was parts of the world where we still had power. There were parts of the world where Esau was getting bold and trying to put us into subjection, trying to like overtake us. And slowly but surely, over a period of time, we were in slavery, right? Because the Lord allowed it. All right. Now, slowly but surely, on the other side, Esau, the curses are coming on them. They're losing their jobs. They're going crazy, making videos about how they can't pay their rent, how they can't afford. They're working 2-3 jobs and they still can't make ends meet. A lot of them are too proud. They got parents which they could move back in with, but they're too proud. They don't want to move back in with mommy and daddy. You know what I mean? And for you Jakes out there that are in that situation, just move back in with family members, man, and just share the bills. Even if you get a corner in the room to sleep, whatever, just sleep on the floor with a sleeping bag. At least you got a roof over your head at night. Don't get stupid, all right? Because the times are going to get serious out there. There's nothing wrong. As long as you got a roof over your head at night, you're warm, man. Even if you got to pay a plate of beans and a piece of bread to eat, it's food, all right? You should praise the Lord Yahweh Hashem Shai for that. Okay, be thankful. But nevertheless, for you crackers and you heathens, man, we don't care about you, man. All right? And these you can bitch and moan and happy days are over and now you're dope fiends and drugs. Now I'm going to say it again, like you said to Jake. Just say no to drugs, Esau. Just say no to drugs, so-called white man. I love seeing you MFers strung out. When I see you crackers outside, begging outside certain stores and shit, I just look at your pale face and your red hair, and I look at you, I think, this bitch probably like 100, females and males. I said, this bitch probably 100, 150 years ago was probably in a horse and carriage, right, with that fan in front of her, waving on her face because they smell so much because Esau don't bathe, right, and they were probably like, Jake being in slavery, how it was in the movie Django, right? You saw how the bitches were behaving in there towards the slaves. You've seen slave movies, how these women set up Jake. They were ruling. They were all, they were lording it. And you see these Edomites, how pompous they were in slavery days, wearing them wigs and those clothes from the 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, how they were. Now you see these crackers today. Fast forward today, curses are coming on them heavy, man, and they're just 2-time losers. If they're fucked up right now like this, how much more are they going to be effed up in the kingdom, man? So I'm glad these curses are coming on them slowly but surely. Yeah, some of these honkies are still living it up, but yeah, there's going to be a cross section of various levels of Edomite and heathen destruction. There's going to be levels of it. Some are going to be suffering greatly. Some are not even suffering, but they can see that their demise is coming. All right, but it's going to hit them like a tidal wave very soon. Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay, you hate us to this day, right? You don't leave our people alone. A young lad, if you've seen that video, I think it's more than several months ago. And there's just numerous videos. I'm not just focusing on one. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of videos of our people being deleted by so-called white people, being hurt by so-called white people, by being beaten by so-called white people, mercilessly, right? And being lynched by so-called white people, and you know how they've been doing us, right? Okay. And then Jake can't even walk anywhere with his ear pods in and just go for a quick walk in the evening after dinner or whatever, relaxing with his sneakers on and his his baggy shorts and a baggy t-shirt in his own neighborhood. You seen that video with a young lad must have been weighing maybe about 140 160, not even 160, man, probably like maybe 145 pounds, maybe less. Looked like he was at least 14, 15 years old, young lad. I don't recollect any facial hair on his face, and it was a big ass cracker with a shaved head. Looked like a skinhead. Looked like he worked out too, probably like 6'2", 6'3", army, I don't know, soldier or some shit. All right, and he kept pushing the kid. I guess he was trying to like show out in front of his wife or some shit. Maybe his wife was looking at Jake. Jake probably didn't pay no mind. Maybe he knows that his woman is a woman who used to deal with Jake back in the day. I don't know. But it's that ultimate hatred that the so-called white man has for Jake. All right? So that's why I'm in happiness when I see these crackers fall like that. And it's affecting them. Now, you've seen the news segment, right, about flysky. How many people did they show? If they're going to show people being deleted, they're going to show so-called black people. Guaranteed they're going to show them. All right? They're going to make sure that the forefront of crime and drugs is always is Jake. All right? So this is affecting a whole lot of bunch of Edomites, so-called white people. Hence the reason why they didn't show any pictures as yet of who are the individuals that it's affecting. All right, Luke 21:11. Okay, so these devils deserve what they're getting, man. You won't be saying nothing. You want to be left alone, and these crackers still won't leave you alone. That's how they are, man. Now these damn curses are coming upon these motherfuckers. Luke 21:11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences. A pestilence, right, is a disease, all right, like the so-called Black Plague, which hit Europe, which basically deleted all of the Israelites that were in the UK and England at that time. In England at that time, that's where it was, right? Now, a pestilence is a disease. Now, those of you that, like I mentioned earlier, that know heroin addicts that grew up with certain so-called friends and now they're on dope, are they the same people today? Do they have the same mentality? They've got a sickness. That is a form of a pestilence. All right. So the Lord is creating more pestilences, more diseases, and drug addiction is a damn disease. Okay. For who? For the people the Lord wants deleted, man. All right. Okay. Isaiah 45 verse 7. Luke 21:11. The Lord takes, deals with the right hand side and the left hand side, man. Okay. The Lord has his employees, all right, his right hand side angels and his left hand side angels, which the world would call demons, doing the Lord's work. All right. Luke 21:11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. And all these things we've been seeing in the last few weeks: great earthquakes, floods, right, in numerous different parts of the world, right, and famines. We see every third damn commercial online when you're watching YouTube is some, they use, I don't know whether they use real children or child actors crying and asking for food. We see, we hear about people, Edomite, so-called white man, America, and European nations bombing different parts of the world, so-called European nations bombing different parts of the world, and then dropping aid and food because they don't have no food, right? Pestilences, diseases, new diseases, always coming out. Ever since the 1/9 thing, there's always been some kind of new new version of it, you know, and they talk about it, you know, some kind of disease and new types of drugs, new versions of drugs, you know, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. And we've been seeing that, you know, but we're not, you know, but the elect are not dismayed about the signs in heaven because we can differentiate in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yashai what's real and what's a blue beam bullshit. All right. But the heathen are dismayed. All right. So there are great signs coming from heaven because we can see the chariots. All right. But they're not fearful. I mean, there are fear. We see them. We get a little bit, you know, like we're in fear because we fear Yahweh Bashim Yashai. But it's like a good fear. It's not like, oh, what is that? Oh, you know, I'm going to hide under. I'm going to go and hide under my bed or whatever. You know, it's not like that. All right. Only the heathen are dismayed. You know, and 2/3 Jakes too. All right. Let me see if there's anything else I want to add. Oh, I deleted it. I got so many pages open. I was highlight the wrong page. But anyway, yeah, man. So the new drug, flysky. Let's get a picture of it. The new drug, flysky. Another drug called Kush. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, it's a form of marijuana. That's something else. Let's talk about flysky. See, I told you, if they're going to use a drug, right, which affects people, affects every nation, but they're going to put the face of a so-called black man. And, you know, that could be a Hamite, right? But you know how Edomites and other nations, oh, yeah, all black people are the same, right? But look, not one picture of a cracker here. You know why? Because it's affecting them the most. This is the shit they showed, right? New drug called flysky is spreading throughout Pittsburgh area, authorities say, as July the 29th, 2025. You literally, when you take that shit, there ain't no coming back once you overdose. So they want you to, oh boy, Esau is trying hard to depopulate the world, man. But anyway, all praises to Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai, B'Hashem Rakak V'dash. Shalom.